Can you guys please introduce yourselves?
My name is Hannah Rooth.
And I'm Eric Schwartz.
We're the Red Pants. And we're releasing the album, Starlight Arboretum, as singles, so one every month. And that'll start in January 2022 and go through May. That's the plan.
You guys are the Red Pants. Can you tell me a little bit about how the Red Pants started?
So a friend of her partner introduced us, and then she came over to my apartment and then immediately started interrogating me about my musical integrity. And she just like really needed to know that I was good enough for her. And I managed to convince her. She asked me why I make music. And I said, because I have to. Because I must. And she was sold.
I would have been. I don't remember this though.
Anyway, and then, yeah, and I liked her voice.
Is this real or are you just like...
No, this is real. You really, like, interrogated me.
I don't remember this at all. I'm so glad you passed.
Thanks. Thanks, Teach.
Yeah. I remember going over to your house.
Mm-hmm.
And that you had a really cool tapestry that I thought was really groovy in your little couch area. We probably, like, played Landslide.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that was fun. Which is a song that I notoriously fuck up anytime I try to play it with anybody else. That was probably me testing myself.
Okay,
To
cool.
be like, will he stick with me if I fuck up Landslide right now?
I don't think she fucked up.
I probably did.
Whatever.
Okay. And then we started just making music. I feel like we played covers
Yeah, we did
for
covers.
a while.
Mm-hmm. We did, like, acoustic covers.
Yeah. And then I feel like the first time we wrote original stuff, the first time I remember was you came over to my house and you just started like playing the guitar and were like, let's write something. And I was like, yes.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah. And then we kind of stopped playing covers, just focused on our own stuff. Yeah, and we had to learn that we liked like the opposite styles of music that we would make. So we'll make like the From Where I Stand style, which is just like acoustic and vocals and like pretty and guitar centric. Well, and then we would also make like rocky songs, but then you started getting into electronic music after that.
Yeah, we were gonna be in a rock band. We were gonna be in a rock folk band.
Yeah.
But then we didn't have enough like people. And this was my problem for like the last like 5 years. I couldn't find a band, and so one day I decided to just like get software to like do production. And
Well,
then
because he thinks rock bands need drums. I don't care about drums.
yeah, dude, drums are like key.
Apparently that's a thing people think.
Anyway, it's all the juice. Anyway, I like got this software. I got Ableton, and I started producing stuff. And then I like had all these random electronic things, and I was like, dude, I should get a singer. I know one. We're in a band together. So I like pitched this idea, like let's do an electronic album, and she was like, yeah, I think.
That's probably what I said.
Okay.
A philosophy I like of yours that you've always had doing this is we don't do anything unless we both really want to do it. Mm-hmm. Which is good.
Always everything unanimous.
Yeah. And I feel like that's also why we focused on electronic music, because you were like, this is what I really want to do. And I was like, yeah, I really want to do that too.
Cool.
It's been fun. It's been cool. It's been my first time making electronic stuff.
So, how did your band name come to be?
Dude, I think I just showed up at one of our practices wearing red pants. And then we were also thinking of band names. And then, I don't know, it seems cool.
But I think what happened is we both showed up and we were both wearing red pants.
Dude,
Because I always wear these pants, would always wear these pants back then. And I feel like we like realized we both were into red pants.
I mean, you could easily be right.
Yeah.
Like, easily.
It's also, my memory is bad. But that's how I remember it.
All right, let's go with that.
Yeah, because I remember we were like, what if we were just the red pants?
Yeah, that is now the truth. We were both wearing red pants one day, and we decided.
Yeah. He doesn't believe this story, but I think that's what happened. Cool.
Cool.
What has been the most challenging part of making this album?
Definitely working remotely. Sometimes I'll like need to like bounce an idea off or get like one little thing from Hannah. And when we get together in person, it happens in 2 minutes. And when we have to do stuff remotely, it happens in 2 days. And that is just, that's a lot of days, right? I mean, something that takes you 60 minutes takes you 60 days. And it's just, it was hard. So we spent a lot of time working really slowly.
That's true. I had to think about that math for like a while,
Mhm.
like an embarrassing amount of time.
It's okay.
That's true though.
It's kind of good because I like had just started doing electronic music and I had a lot to learn in the software. Like basically I needed all the time that it took to get stuff together because if like she had sent me everything in a week, then all of our songs would sound like poop.
Yeah. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had time to become a really good electronic music producer.
That is nice. Thank you.
It's true. Yeah, the timing that it takes longer. For me, creating music is very energy based. Like I want to be like feeling the project and feeling the song, especially if I'm recording vocals. I need to be like in the right mood for it. So that happens when we play together because we're like there and it's in person and it's like a whole experience. But you can't like create that by yourself at home. So that made it harder for me to just do things quickly.
Yeah. What's crazy about the way like I had to do it is that it's completely the opposite because when you input stuff into the software, it automatically saves everything you do and it automatically plays it back the same way every time. And so it's very iterative. Whereas for you have to do it perfectly one time, which is like very difficult.
Well, and not just perfectly, but for me it's different every time. And it's a vocal is more than just the different parts of the sound. There's like an energy behind it and you
for
can
sure.
feel if the person like where they are, and that's what I try to convey in it. I think that is a really cool part of our music is that we bring those two really different sides.
Well, I
of
think
our
that because I like when I listen to electronic music, I think that having the vocal is so key because it's so computery, it's so synthetic, and then you need the human element, and so it's nice that you like are very human in your human element. That's cool.
Real raw. Yeah.
Real raw.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I don't listen to electronic music for the most part, and I don't tend to like it, but I like ours a lot because it has, like, the bigness of electronic music, but to me it also has the soul part, which is, like, a lot of, like, melodic content and, like, interesting singing. Yeah. I think
it's not just like
really
it's
cool.
not just like kick clap, you know. Which I actually like a lot of that stuff, so not trying to diss kick clap, but you know, not
and
for
I don't
everyone.
just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm trying to diss it.
Yeah.
Just being real. I just don't listen to it. It's great for like when you're at a dance club.
Yeah.
Yeah. With our album, it's like my favorite music to listen to in the car. It just feels really alive and magical, and like I don't feel that from a lot of electronic stuff. So yeah.
So what has been the most fun aspect of working with the other person?
I think the most fun thing about working with you, I feel like my mom asked me to say something nice about my sibling and it's really awkward. But I think it's that you get like super excited about stuff.
I do get super excited
And
about stuff.
especially with what it just like, yeah, bringing the energy to move the project forward and just getting really into the songs. It's great. It's great to be around. Really appreciate it.
Well, I feel like when we like first started, like, and still, not saying you're like bad now, but like, when we first started, I remember like I would get excited because you also had that energy, and you still do. But it was just really important when we first started, so that we could like get something going.
Yeah.
So
cool.
you bring it out of me.
Yay! That's nice to know.
So you're releasing a new album soon. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes.
All right, so get this. There's this mothership called the Starlight Arboretum, which is essentially, the point of it is it's a big space bar, right? It picks up people and other life forms from across the many galaxies, and then, you know, they all party together, and that's kind of the whole thing. It kind of targets life forms that have a sort of sense of existential dread and suffer from that issue. You know, it picks up those individuals and they party together, and that's kind of, the first song is the introduction to that. Then you go into the second song, which is the Violet Haze room, the feature party room, where as soon as you step in, you immediately become a cloud of colorful gas, and it's euphoric. And I remember when we were we were talking about this with someone who we wanted to do art with. And I was talking about it, and I had mentioned, just to make it relatable, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a big gaseous orgy. And then the person we were talking to got kind of freaked out by that. And so I said, oh, no, it's not really sexual. And then Hannah immediately goes, whoa. It's not necessarily asexual either.
I did.
And I was like, all right.
It's like, back the fuck up.
So yeah, clearly it can be sexual, but it doesn't have to be if that freaks you out, but it's definitely euphoric. Anyway, you leave the Violet Haze room, you are coming down from this high, and you're getting kind of angry that this company that runs the Starlight Arboretum is sort of taking advantage of your existential dread in order to run their company, and that's not very nice. So they kind of need you to do some jobs on the ship, they need you to run their operation, and they've kind of used your problems to their benefit, and that doesn't feel very good. And so you talk to some other people on the ship who have the same problems, and they kind of feel the same way you do. And so you guys come together, and you learn that by coming together, you can overcome these issues of this existential dread. And that's the Almost There song, where it's all about coming together to overcome our issues. And then the last song...
And overthrow our overlords.
And perhaps overthrow our overlords. Anyway, not trying to get too political here, but, you could.
I am.
Anyway, and then the last song is From Where I Stand, and you kind of have settled in your anger and your rebelliousness. You've learned from other people that you can come together, and you've learned that all you need is love to get through your life. It's kind of this nice love song, and it really closed out the album really nicely, in my opinion.
And you just have to envision yourself standing on the deck of the Starlight Arboretum and staring out into space with a loved one while you listen to the song.
So yeah, so that's the whole album concept. Then we could talk about each individual song. So yeah, so we didn't write them all originally as a concept album. Starlight Arboretum, I had made this like experimental beat where I tried to make the same song in 4 different styles, and then I would cut between each style until I had this like sort of jigsaw puzzle of a beat together. And it ended up being really cool, and I was just like, dude, we should make this into a song. And Hannah ended up liking it, and then we kind of put it together. And I had this idea about the space bar. We put that in the first verse. The rest of the song actually isn't about anything really, like at all. It's actually about how I like had a lot of trouble finding more ways to talk about the space bar without being too cheesy. And then I was sick of starting the song over. And so the chorus is, I don't want to start it over. Because I just like was so sick of starting it over. So yeah, that's that song.
An interesting thing about that is that I think is cool is like typically I usually write the stuff that I'm singing, but also when I do a cover, the like theme and like narrative in my head is important to me for like getting into the song and delivering it. And that one I've always like had a hard time. Like I can't find a narrative or theme for it in my head. But
because there is none.
Yeah, because there isn't one. But I think the really cool thing about that is the main line is that's the way I feel. And so the cool thing about that is you can really take that line and like deliver it with any feeling that you want to, which is also cool because the whole idea of the Starlight Arboretum is like it's whatever is in your imagination and it's like tailored to the experience of whoever's listening to it. So it's pretty cool. It's cool how it all came together. I like that. One of my favorite parts of the whole album, and specifically that song, is that when I was recording, before I had like a vocal booth, I was just recording in the living room area of our condo, which at the time was right next to a children's playground. And so there's this quiet part of the song where you can hear this child's like kind of like glass shattering scream coming through in the background. And to me, it's just like the perfect addition to the song. I don't even quite know how to describe why, but yeah, I recommend that you notice that part.
I tried to cut it, but she wouldn't let me.
No, I want it. It's so fucking cool. Anyway, yeah, it's my favorite.
So I guess for Violet Haze, as part of the concept, like the music fills into the concept pretty well, but like you did all the lyrics with like a different idea in mind, so you should probably head off this one.
The lyrical part of Violet Haze is like It's basically about taking power in your life and like moving on from situations and like relationship dynamics that you don't want to be a part of your story anymore, choosing something else. The chorus is, "You can't take me out the light because I made it through the night." Once you've had a dark experience and like taken the power back from that and chosen something else and moved on, whoever was a part of creating that experience, it's really asserting they don't have power to pull you back into that anymore. I guess there is a lot of like emotional darkness and like depth in it for me. I think that's cool in relationship to the whole like euphoric orgy concept, because to me, to get to that place in your life, at least in my story, I mean, I know some people like come from really healthy backgrounds and they're really great at just like being happy all the time, but that's not my story. And for me, like getting to a place where I can feel really happy and euphoric and open in my life has been like a struggle. So I like that the song encompasses both of those things.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so the next is Child of Summer. So this one I wrote when I was kind of mad about graduate school. Like I felt like I had gotten like sucked into something that I like didn't really know what I was getting myself into, and then that wasn't like apparent. And then I sort of lost the feelings that I had that are like fun and that are like make me happy, and I wasn't able to do things that were fun or made me happy because I was so trapped in my job, and I had longed for some kind of release. And so that's what I wrote about. We eventually managed to tie it in with this rebellious thing in the Starlight Arboretum, which
Works pretty well.
Yeah. I think the original concept album was like supposed to be this like just totally happy, everything's great, like you got picked up by this spaceship, it's so cool, like whatever. But then
The fact that you tried to write an album like that with me is just fucking funny. Like there's no way that was gonna happen.
But yeah, so I guess it's good that like we happen to have had this song that was very rebellious in nature, because otherwise Hannah would have been really bored the whole time because there was no tension.
You need the dark parts.
You need the dark parts? Fair enough.
Yeah. How else are you gonna be like a fucking rock band?
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
Does that make you and Hannah the raging child of summer?
Well, I had always envisioned Hannah as the raging child of summer, but I feel as though I have many elements of the raging child of summer. So I guess you could say it's both of us. However, I'd always envisioned it as Hannah.
I think it's also everybody. Like, we all have shit to be angry about. I think that song's so easy to relate to. I remember when I listened to it the first time, like when you just had your demo with you singing. Will and I listened to it in the car, and I was like, this song is fucking rad. It's like such a good song. And I think some of the changes we made have made it really solid. And you wanted to scrap it, which I'm like,
scrapped it.
Honestly, like probably.
That would have been a terrible decision.
I think that song's, I won't say it's the best song on the album, but I would say it's in the stronger ones.
Alright, so what happened is that I had made this song, and I was really bad at making instruments in my software at the time, and so everything just sounded really bad. But I thought it sounded good, but then it didn't. And so like I listened to it like 5 months after I had made the original version. After I'd gotten like I'd made a lot of progress. And I listened to this and I was like, dude, this is garbage.
Yeah.
This sounds like garbage.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, and I was just like, I didn't even know what to do. And Hannah she did a great job. She like didn't let me give up on it, which is something that I kind of fear that I tend to do a little too often. And it was really nice that she like stopped me.
Yay. I remember being like, you should just strip everything out and start over.
So yeah,
then it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, I cut every instrument and I just kept her vocal, and then I like built everything around it, and it was really cool. So thank you for making me do that.
Thanks for writing a cool song. I mean, I think it goes to show that like all of the time that you spent banging your head against the wall, you had ideas that were gathering, waiting for the paper to be torn away. Another chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that leads us to Almost There, which is like crazy. I made this instrumental section. It was this like super upbeat, happy, kind of funky a little bit, influenced a lot by like maybe like Madian. They did the Freaks Orchestra. They did Get Down. Anyway, they're this French duo, and they are this electronic duo, and they're super cool. They do like this like modern funk kind of electronic music. I forget their name, but they're so cool. Anyway, I was inspired by that music. I made this like really standard kick, clap, whatever, and I incorporated this cool bass, and I was like, this is cool. And I like wanted to like throw in a lot of like different pieces of vocals. And so all I had at the start was instruments, and then, hey, do you want it that way? And that was it. And I couldn't come up with anything else. And so I just had these like random yells in like the whole chorus. And then I eventually made a verse. And the verse was kind of outrageous. But whatever.
Your verses are really wordy.
Yeah, they're really wordy.
They're so wordy. They're
Yeah.
so hard.
And so we had 2 verses and this chorus of essentially nothing. And then Hannah was like, Eric, I can write a great chorus. And I was like, great, because this chorus is nothing. So go for it. And then she did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that it's really like a Haze song.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. Super fun to perform.
Yeah. But yeah, it's about, the first verse and the second verse are about 2 different things. So the first verse was originally about, I was reminded of like I think it was a Streetlight Manifesto song. When I think of that song, it immediately makes me relate to like a good time I had in college. And there's like another like Red Hot Chili Peppers song that when I hear it, I immediately think of when I had a good time playing the video game Spore, right? And like these songs associate with very specific memories, and I thought that concept was so cool, and so I wanted to put that into a verse. The second verse is about people coming together to kind of overcome grand challenges in the world, and then yeah, and then there's this like little chorusy section, which is cool, and then Hannah came with the chorus.
Eric was telling me when I add something to a song, I want to know, like, what's your concept? What am I playing off of? And you just said,
No, I remember what I said.
imagine, like, how you want the world to be.
No,
Wait.
I said pretend that communism works and how that would make you feel, and then she wrote this killer chorus.
I forgot that you already knew that you knew me with that. I guess you don't have to tell me that I'll know I'm communist. The previous descriptor to that was just like,
But it was like people coming together.
that it's really positive. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the most optimistic. Yeah. So it's written from the part of me that believes, which is not all of me, but there's definitely part of me that believes that like the human race can evolve quickly enough to stop fucking up the world so severely and stop prioritizing short-term profit over human wellness and planetary, existence and stuff, which
good things.
yeah.
Things that should happen.
Things that
Yeah.
seem pretty, like, basic,
yeah.
but a lot of us are still really stuck in our, like, reptilian brains, I think, of, like, no, destroy everyone else, or else nothing will work, but actually we're just destroying things that way. It's a song of inspiration to other people who think we can move forward towards collective progress, and the imagery is like that we're almost there and that we're like crawling out of the ocean, so our evolution is moving forward to where we can really be loving and collective instead of so tribal and wanting to hurt other people and take all of their resources. That's what the chorus is about.
What about From Where I Stand?
I could talk about the guitar.
Well, we actually wrote it together, which is a really
dude.
fun thing about
Well,
that.
like, I played the guitar, and then you
Oh.
magically came up with
Okay.
the best lyrics ever on the spot. So anyway, I was feeling really free one day, and I decided to start writing something on guitar that wasn't very conventional. Like, normally I kind of get stuck in, like, standard chord progressions and scales, and this time I was just like, you know what, Eric, just make all the chords out of the notes, and then change all the notes the way you want them to sound, and don't think about the chord progression. And I ended up coming with a super cool chord progression, which, in my opinion, is the coolest thing I've ever done on guitar, and I will never do anything cooler. And I'm super excited about it. And then, like, 3 months later, I think I showed it to Hannah, and she was like, wow, it's really good. And then, like, on the spot, she came up with, like, lyrics. And
yeah.
they're really good, so you should talk about the lyrics.
Yeah, that was like a one and done thing. I think you played it for me, and then you played it again, and I just wrote it during that time. Which happens for me when I really connect with a composition. It's such a happy, soothing song, and it just reminded me of how much I love my partner and how surprising it is to experience healthy love after not having experienced that before. I don't know if there's a lot to say about it, but I think it comes through. It's just soothing, and it's basically about how love is not something to be taken for granted. That's very special. So, yeah.
So what do you hope this album brings people?
I definitely hope it brings people fun. Like, one of the reasons that I want to make music is so I can make something that I think is really, really cool. Because when I listen to it, I love the music that I listen to, and I think it's so cool, and it's so amazing that these people managed to put something together that, like, I think is just this amazing. And I'm striving for that because I love the music that I listen to, and so that's what I'm going for.
Cool. beautiful. I've been listening to the album in its current form. It's not totally done, but in my car, I like to listen to it while I'm like driving on the highway somewhere here in LA. And it's like my favorite driving music ever because, I mean, I think it's really cool that it turned out being a concept album and it works so well like that because it really feels like being in a story. Not an overly specific story either, but just like a story that I feel like anyone can relate to emotionally. And it's like very uplifting when I'm like driving on the highways here, listening to it. It just feels really like magical and like there's so much potential in life. I hope that that's what people get out of it.
So what's next for the Red Pants?
Well, we're gonna spend the next 4 or 5 months releasing this album, and then, all right, so this plan it's in the works. It has to be remote, which is gonna be unfortunate because I'm moving away. But we're gonna start a post-hardcore progressive rock band, and Hannah is gonna sing, and we found a drummer who's down, and I'm gonna do guitar and bass on the recordings. And so, you know, for all you fans of Circa Survive, RX Bandits, we're gonna go for that kind of genre. So basically, for all you fans. Yeah, a little Paramore for sure.
A little bit.
Yeah. So for anyone who's like me and likes Zed and RX Bandits, listen to the Red Pants. This is your stuff, all right? There's like nobody out there like that, but whatever.
Sounds good. Hopefully I can get him to send me some more interesting guitar stuff too, because I want to write more From Where I Stand songs. We'll see. We'll see what I can get.
That doesn't happen very often.